Well, 2015 was indeed a tough year in the news for Zimbabwe. There was widespread hunger caused by a crippling drought. And then there was Cecil, the world's most famous lion, that put the country on the global map, but for all the wrong reasons, that is. The SABC's Shingai Nyoka reports this year did have some moments of triumph, though.
2015 began buoyantly. Zimbabwe President Robert Mugabe returned from the African Union annual summit triumphant. He'd just been elected the AU chairperson. This came on the heels of his election to the Southern African Development Community SADC chair.
We should be the engine of development in Africa. And as the engine, we must put ourselves together.
The jubilation marred by a now famous fall that intensified concerns about the state of his health. The veteran ruler brushed aside concerns, going on to address supporters on his feet for over an hour during a lavish bash to mark his 91st birthday weeks later. The political year capped by 3 cabinet reshuffles in 9 months and increasing the number of ministers. The appointment of Patrick João, the president's nephew, to the Empowerment Ministry marked a shift to hardline policies.
And I'm out there to flush you out because you are a threat to the empowerment of my people. The component of economic empowerment of Zimbabweans is non-negotiable.
This as the economy tumbled. Government halved its 2015 growth forecast to 1.5%. A constitutional court ruling allowed employers to fire workers on 3 months' notice, ending previously cumbersome payouts of a month's salary for every year worked. The Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Union estimated that 20,000 people lost their jobs in a single month. He says people who were retrenched earlier this year received $4,000, but we'll be lucky to get $1,500. We're not political people by nature, but this forces us to interpret this as political. Government has to intervene.
35% of companies in Zimbabwe, they are owing their staff salaries of at least 1 year going backwards. And you know for sure that those companies will at no point afford to pay those salaries. So what is the solution?
To stop the hemorrhaging, government amended the laws. Hope returned to the economy when Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, arrived pledging to invest $400 million in a cement plant.
We want to set up an integrated cement plant here that, is actually maybe bigger than all the, plants that we have currently.
The economic year was capped by the visit of the Chinese President Xi Jinping. The two countries inked 12 deals in infrastructural development, construction and energy worth at least $2 billion.
Both countries should make full use of the political trust and economic complementarity between us. To translate our friendship into cooperation impetus, I have full confidence in our bilateral relations.
But the economy remains dire. Drought has left 1.5 million people hungry and in need of food aid. For the first time in recent memory, the Kariba Dam has dropped to levels which have reduced power generation in both Zimbabwe and Zambia. Blackouts have increased to up to 18 hours a day. In the global headlines, though, Zimbabwe will be remembered for 2 issues: the disappearance of human rights activist and anti-Mugabe demonstrator Itai Dzamara. He was allegedly abducted out of a barber shop in March. The country also made bigger headlines after the slaughter of the famous lion Cecil. The poaching incident brought attention to the million-dollar hunting industry and pressured Zimbabwe to review its hunting procedures.
The process of coming up with a quota, it is not a thumbs-up process. We are looking at the conservation efforts that we have. How many animals do we have? How sustainable is it to keep them? Where someone has done something illegal, you can't condemn. To say sport hunting is bad.
Wildlife was again in the headlines when officials say over 70 elephants were killed in cyanide poisoning. The year that began on a high note has ended subdued, but the rains have begun to fall, and there's hope that 2016 will bring revival. Shingai Nyoka, SABC News, Harare, Zimbabwe.